In this video, we will talk about e-identity and how it works in the context of e-Estonia. The first two questions that you might have, however, are what is e-identity and why do we need it? Well, e-identity enables both state and private sector services to verify who is the person who's sitting behind the screen. In the physical world, for example, we usually need a passport to travel abroad or a library card to get access to a library. These documents usually have photos and other information on them so that we can be identified before we are allowed to enter or use the services to which the card itself might entitle us. The same has been happening online for many years now as well, but primarily in the private sector. For example, we often need to enter our email address and a specific password to get access to our social media accounts or other online portals. In the case of e-Estonia, the e-ID is linked to an 11-digit personal code that serves as a unique numeric identifier for every single citizen and resident of this country. The personal code contains a person's date of birth and sex, among other things. In Estonia, all pieces of information that are within the state system, medical data, driver's license, address, and so on, are connected to this personal code. The setup of this e-ID system was implemented already in 2002. There are different types of solutions carrying the e-ID in Estonia. First, of course, there are identity and residence cards. The ID card does not just carry the e-ID itself, but for Estonians it serves as the mandatory identification document in Estonia and also as the primary travel document for most of the EU. But there are also more exotic options. Mobile ID, for example, is a SIM card-based solution, so you can use a wide range of online services with your phone without having to rely on your ID card. Another mobile-based solution is Smart ID, which is an app with which you can log into many portals and do transactions as well. And we can clearly see that people like to use these alternative carriers as well. Another e-ID carrier is the e-residency card, about which we will talk in another video. All carriers of electronic identity work on the basis of a public key infrastructure system, or PKI for short. This model uses two keys, one private, one public. The public key is available to anyone and serves to identify who actually made a specific electronic transaction. The private key is the one that is only yours. It is located on the card and accessible only with the PIN codes. In Estonia, these private keys are protected with PIN 1 and PIN 2. PIN 1 exists to authenticate yourself, so you can't just find an ID card on the street and use it to get access to a person's e-services. Then there is PIN 2, with which you create a digital signature, which has the same legal power in Estonia and the EU, just like a physical signature on paper. Only it's much easier, cheaper, and more secure than the latter. How many people in the world know exactly what your signature looks like? And does your signature always look exactly the same? That's extremely unlikely. Yet we seem to somehow trust pen-on-paper signatures quite a lot in day-to-day life. But because the e-ID provides a secure method for authentication, it also paves the way for signing documents digitally. How does it work? Well, let's take a look at this document sitting on my desktop here. It's a rental agreement that I want to sign with my friend Tobias. Tobias, come over here. So, how do we do this digitally? Well, it's simple. First, I will create a digital container into which you can drag and drop several files. In this case, it's just the rental agreement. Then I will put my ID card into the card reader on my laptop. Click on Sign with ID card, enter my PIN 2 like this, and done. Tobias, you prefer using mobile ID, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, then you just enter your phone number and personal code here.
Now I see the control code both on the laptop screen and on my phone, which confirms that we have a secure connection. So now I'll enter my PIN 2 and confirm.
Thank you, Tobias. And this is how you can digitally sign documents in Estonia since 2002. Did you see how easy that was? This is why Estonia saves 2% of its GDP every single year. Any signature that you might have to give at some point, you can give from practically anywhere in the world as long as you're connected to the internet and have an e-ID carrier. Tying all of this information together into one e-ID is extremely helpful. As such, people living in Estonia don't need to carry a physical driver's license or some kind of health insurance card. All of that information is linked to their unique personal code. As a result, you don't need to carry 20 different cards in your wallet at all times. Speaking of wallets, in most countries people still carry lots of cards for different private sector loyalty programs, whether it's for a restaurant or their favorite shoe shop. In Estonia, many private companies have opted to use the e-ID as a basis for their loyalty programs, so I can use my ID card instead of having to carry 20 separate cards at all times. The same is true for many state-related services. For example, many Estonians have the right to drive, but don't carry a physical driver's license, because the information that I do indeed have the right to drive is connected to my e-ID. That's all the police officer needs to verify. The necessity for some type of electronic ID is quite clear. It is impossible to use personalized online services without identifying yourself. But the real beauty of this approach is that every country can decide for itself what sort of carriers it wants to offer, whether it is a card, an app, or something entirely different. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned more about how the electronic ID works in Estonia. Next, we will talk about interoperability services, which are another crucial part of e-Estonia as we know it today.